Business Brain, episode 689 for Casual FridAI, October 3rd, National Body Language Day, 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take ideas, some of our ideas, some of your ideas, and together we crunch them, we dissect them, we use them to tune our collective and individual business brains so that we each know a little bit more to help us lead our charmed lives. Here on National Body Language Day, attempting to look open and caring and relaxed in Durham, New Hampshire. I'm Dave Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm aggressive and action oriented. here in Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon Jean. Happy FridAI.
There is something to body language, though. Like it's
agree.
something I think about a lot.
Yeah, it's big time. How do you use that to your advantage, like when we're connecting over the airwaves here, right? That's interesting. Your Zoom or whatever, it's got to be different. Your facial expressions.
Zoom body language is interesting. When I don't do it for the show, mainly because of the logistics of the space that I've chosen to be in when I record. But prior to moving into this space, I stood every time that I recorded a podcast. Now, this was back in the audio podcast days. Nobody could see me.
I see. Yeah. But
I still felt the energy was easier to sort of muster up the energy. Obviously, I've been doing it long enough and it's fine now. But when in my office, when I have a call where I'm feeling a little anxious before it or feeling like I need to really be at the top of my game for this, a call where I'm selling, right. And I have an adjustable desk and I'll stand my desk up for that call. Yeah, if I'm not already standing. Yeah,
I like
just so I don't wind up slouching. Like it communicates a more commanding vibe when I am standing on a Zoom, when I'm standing for a Zoom call. Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah. And you can kind of move yourself around.
And you can move yourself around and
get more inflection, lean into the call, that
correct.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Correct. But never am I going to slouch, right? There's no opportunity for that.
Yes.
Because there's no chair.
Shoulder back. Yeah. Take up room. That's one
But
of
I
those
also find, and it's funny because I just did it now, although you might not be able to see it if you're watching the video, I go out of my way not to cross my arms.
That's not the best.
Right, that shows that you're closed off.
You made it's really interesting. Hey, so on this Friday, I want to talk about a new.
Well, first, I do want to invite people. Feedback at businessbrain.show. Please tell us your body language stuff. Like I think there's something we can all learn from each other here about using body language and really just being aware of our body language and how it impacts others. So if you've been impacted by someone's body language or turned off by it or turned on by it in a business deal or whatever, let us know. Or if you use it yourself, if you're aware of how you use it. I think it's I don't know. Here I am crossing my arms because it's a little cold in here. It's candidly the reason, but,
I like it. And on the Zoom, I think, or even on these things, I think it's important to get your hands out there once in a while.
Get your hands out there.
Sure. And one of the things that I really like about yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
And to be, my problem is like you're well, not a problem, but you got to be careful not to hit your mic.
To whack the microphone all the time.
Whack.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I was doing a workshop the other day and I have a bunch of stuff. This little viewpoint looks nice and clean and everything's really nice, but of course there's a bunch of stuff all over my desk.
Obviously.
And I went like this and with my arm to make some broad statement, I knocked about 5 things onto the floor and it was a
I've had to clear things out. I talk with my hands. Too. When I'm on stage, like to do a presentation or a speech or whatever, they'll put a lavalier mic on me, and I stop them and I say, you need to run it up my shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
Because unless you want this thing to go flying and you want that to be a bit, we can do that. I'm fine. But then we're going to be talking about it, during whatever we're doing because that's how it, But Labs and I, Chords and I, no bueno.
Yeah, it would be the same thing. That'd be good.
And I also find, be careful how much you touch your face when you're on a Zoom call.
Oh, yeah?
I have a habit of like touching my chin or whatever, which is better, but like covering your face is bad if and in person too. I also think that Zoom calls, most people are just looking at themselves no matter what. And it's unhealthy. We've talked about this before.
We have.
That has nothing to do with body language.
What I typically do when I have camera fatigue is I just pull another window in front of my own head, and then I don't have to see anything.
Yes.
And
on Zoom, I turn my view off. I don't see myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It's the most healthy way to
I agree,
to deal with it. Yeah. Because otherwise, you're just looking at yourself. It's weird.
Yeah, stupid. It's terrible.
You got a thing though, don't you?
Yeah. So if you watch
FridAI
this on our YouTube, if you go to YouTube and watch this, you can see this little dongle that I've got here. This little it's a pendant, they call it, and it's through a company called Limitless AI.
Oh, I remember them. Okay.
They used to be called Rewind.
Yeah.
And they have a desktop app and a phone app and everything that kind of
We've talked about Rewind on the show.
We have. And I've used it for a while.
When the Pendant launched, it was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago or something. It maybe even just a year ago. I remember all the people that I did not review one, but I remember the people that reviewed it did not have nice things to say.
Like I don't know.
In that it just wasn't ready for prime time at the time, but it's well, okay.
What's interesting is that these hardware, software type, the software is crucial, right? That has to work really well.
Yes.
And so I've looked for one for a while. I've used a few different ones, and I've been using this thing for, about a week or so. And I like their use case is a little different. Yes, I want it to help with my productivity and all that kind of stuff, but they also have, if you go to limitless.ai, they have some really interesting, in the solution sections, they talk about for parents, for patients, if you're going to your doctor, so you can pick up everything that is said. For journalists, the thing will hold 2 days worth of audio. So the way it works is it's recording everything that you say or that is heard, and it is making lists for you. It is creating reminders for you if you tell it to. It's got a little button that you can say, highlight that section that I just talked about for 10 minutes, which is kind of cool. But it's another, they have a whole section on ADHD, and they're also positioning it for people that have memory loss, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing, of keeping it with, like, I would love, my mom's 97, and I'd love to, have her wear one of these when she goes to the doctor, so that you could track and say, hey, what did they talk about? So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm going to keep talking about it, see how I use it, and see if it passes. I have this, what I call the 6-month test.
Yep.
Am I still using it in 6 months? And one of the main reasons.
My question is, does it work? Like, is it reliable and all those things? Like, no more concerns about
great.
Okay, great.
When I
How long have you had it?
About a week.
Okay, that's long enough. Yeah,
yeah. And at the end of the day, they have this thing called the life log, and you log in. It has all this stuff, and it also has AI, so you can ask it like, what commitments did I make today? What was the most productive part of my day when I was talking to people, or, some interesting, like they talk about, there was one example, person's insight, adaptive responses, solutions, heroes by patient, doctors, the way you can talk about it is asking, what did I spend the most time on today? What tasks did I do? Just different stuff like you would normally do. And it's got an also like your reminders type thing. So it'll pop up and give you feedback on things I need to do this at this time. Like earlier today, I said, I want to make sure I do this at 6 p.m. tonight. So I'm going to, with tracking that and see how it's coming up. So yeah, it's relatively new, but I'm going to try it for a while and see what I like about it.
This sounds, I mean, if it's doing its advertised job, then that's great. Like that, and I was looking at the pricing of it while we've been talking here.
Yep.
It's interesting. And I'm sure you know this, but I'll share for the audience.
Please. Yes.
The Pendant and the unlimited plan, which is unlimited transcription hours, which is of speech. Silence doesn't count towards your plan. So you can get fixed hours, but the Pendant and the unlimited plan for a year is $399. You could buy the Pendant alone just for $199, but then your yearly plan is $348 a year. So you're essentially getting the Pendant for $50.
Correct.
With a year's plan, because it's worthless unlimited. Without the plan. Yeah. Right, a year's unlimited plan.
You can get the free plan is 20 hours of audio per month.
That's true. Yeah, sure.
So you can, if you want to experiment with it, that kind of thing. The Pro plan, I think, is $19 a month, and it's 100 hours. And then unlimited is $29. But yeah,
it build yearly. It's $49 if you build monthly.
Yes, yearly. But that's correct.
But I mean, to me, $400 is a great point of entry price, entry price for a year to experiment with this thing. And you're going to give it the 6-month test. That's what anybody's going to give it, right? Am I still using this in January? That's the real question. That's not even 6 months. That's are you still using this thing in November?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you are, you probably will keep using it until something better comes along.
Yeah, or they're continuing to improve and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they have, for me, one of the things I'm getting the next 4 months or so, I do a lot of driving where I'm listening to podcasts and things. Sure. And I'm constantly listening to a podcast and think, oh, that's a great concept. I need to put that on the Business Brain. Or, I could do a post about this concept, but I'm driving and I don't want to grab my phone, or I don't necessarily want to, say, Siri, remind me, yada, yada, yada. So I'm hoping that with this sitting clipped to my shirt, my jacket, or sitting on my dash, I can just say, hey, don't, make sure you mention this. This is an idea for some content based on what I just heard. And I'm hoping that works really well for me, and I'll report back to see how that's going.
Now, I have a question here. You may or may not know the answer.
Yes.
But we've just talked about all the pricing of the plan and the Pendant and the bundle and all that stuff. I went to rewind.ai, which is still a thing that you can do.
Okay.
And it says introducing Limitless, a web app, a Mac app, a Windows app, and a wearable. So I wonder, could I get started with this by just using 20 hours for free and the Mac app and just learn? Now, I realize it's not following me around. I don't get all the benefits of having the Pendant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But is there a test world here?
Yeah.
I don't know. But if I
have to say, I used Rewind, the free version. Yeah. That's how I even found out about these folks. And I used it on my Mac because I'm just like, well, it's gonna keep track. It doesn't, everything's private. It tracks all the stuff I work on during the day, and I could go back and ask Rewind, what did I say? I had a meeting this morning, and I could not for the life of me remember what the topic was supposed to be about.
Yes.
And even though
you're not alone.
And I was like, where did I connect with this guy? So rather than jump on LinkedIn, then jump into my mastermind and jump onto X or jump into email to try to search for this guy, because I still use that Rewind app, I just searched and it just comes right up, and it brings every context of that name that you mentioned, typed, put an appointment, all that kind of stuff. So it's very helpful. Yeah. Super helpful. And I need that kind of stuff. And I know, people have privacy concerns or whatever, but I think the ship has sailed on that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not wearing it at night when I go out to dinner, maybe unless it's a business dinner or whatever. And I'm always I would always mention, hey, would you mind if I recorded this? It's just like jumping on a Zoom call. Would you mind if I recorded this?
Yep.
So otherwise you just turn it off and it's not listening to you, unlike your telephone, which
so it looks like you can get started for free. I just signed up while we're talking here.
Nice.
And there's an onboarding flow, of course.
Yes.
Creating your first recording, linking your things, subscribing to pick a plan that works for you, but we already know there's a free plan. And then finally, install Limitless for Mac. Record other speakers better, especially if you use headphones and get better prompts. So, I'm gonna experiment with this too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think you might like it.
It the idea of this Pendant and really I know they're not promising anything. This is me like putting an implied promise or maybe a wishful promise on it. But the idea of this would be it listens to everything that I do. It links with, whatever. It becomes what I've been using ChatGPT essentially for a long time.
Right.
It becomes my assistant. Right.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to make it.
You want to make it that, of course.
Yeah, I want it to tell me, these are the things you spoke about. This is what you said you were going to do. These are tasks you asked to be reminded about. This is, all on and on and on and on and on. I just want some personal assistant that's with me all the time.
All the time. Great. I want it to capture everything so I don't have to. So I don't have to remember. And like you said, so it's suggesting things. So what I've always said is that I want Jane from Ender's Game, which is essentially this is a step toward it. It is a version of that. So, correct. Right. And I know they're not saying that. I'm saying that. No. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like their use case is pretty interesting. And I like there's a whole solution section up there for ADHD, which we've talked about on the show, and I'm all over the place. So I can grab, I live my life in little snippets.
Right.
Deep work is difficult. When I get into deep work, it's great, but I'm also jumping around all the time. And so just being able to mention something as a set reminder, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and that, and it's recording me right now, and it's going to put it in a text format. And at the end of the day, when I'm sitting there on my phone, I can look at it and say, tell me about my day.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm excited about. And I'll keep reporting back.
Okay.
I'm doing
Sounds
it for
great.
the people, man. I'm doing it to, I'm living this AI life so I can share with you here.
Yeah. No, this is great. I love it. I love it. Thank you for bringing that up. I think it's great. Yeah.
That's good. How are we doing on time? Do we have time for one more quick topic, or are we ready to go?
I think we've exhausted.
Okay. That's great. So I'd love your take on it. If you go to Limitless.ai or Rewind.ai, if you want to play around with their, the Mac stuff, that app. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about these wearables that are going to be recording us at all times. Does that freak you out, or does that excite you about opportunities, and how do we keep what little shred of privacy we have left?
And just for clarity, it's not the Rewind app that I'm going to download. It's the Limitless app for the Mac.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
Same
thing. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, it's not the same. I think it's similar, right?
Yes,
similar tech, obviously. Yeah.
Yes, similar tech.
All right, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Feedback at businessbrain.show. Please go to businessbrain.show/review and give us a review. We would love that. It makes a huge difference for us. We look forward to chatting with you next week, and have a great weekend. Keep living that charm life. Later.